Welcome to the PLT podcast, everybody. Becky G.
Woo woo.
Yes, woo. I have been waiting for this moment, Becky. Let me tell you, this is so exciting for me. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good, thank you. I love your energy. It's so contagious.
Oh, babes, I feel like me and you are going to have some good energy today. Every time I watch anything you're involved in, I'm like, her energy is electric, and that's the kind of energy that I'm here for. Now, there's something I've got to start with, obviously, the big one to say. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Can we get an applause from everybody for Becky's birthday?
I love the energy over there. There's like no one here, but it's okay. I feel the love.
This is the COVID vibes. You know it too well, having your own podcast. Being able to do these interviews through Zoom, it's a little bit different to what we're used to. But we're sending all of our energy from the UK over to you right now. And we're so grateful to have you here, Becky.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It means the world. It's a great way to kick off the birthday festivities.
Yes. How are you going to be celebrating? Have you got any big plans?
Honestly, I don't have many. I want to do something for the community, really. I'm born and raised in LA, and I feel like there's no better way than to, spend a special day helping others. That's just kind of like how I was raised. And 24 is just so crazy to think about because, where I was last year on my birthday and what I thought was going to happen. I thought 23, it's my Jordan year, I'm going to get everything I ever dreamed of and I'm accomplish all my goals. And then a couple days later, I started my quarantine and here we are still. And so it's given me a lot of time to just really reflect on, who I am and what I'm all about. And I think that there's no other way I would want to spend my birthday than doing something in the community. So I have a couple different ideas and I'm working on it with my team internally to see how I can get out there in the streets and help my fellow neighbors.
I love that. You're always so inspiring, Becky. And we can't wait to see what it is you get up to. So we'll be watching all of your socials and keeping an eye. But right now we're here on the podcast and we're going to start a little bit with your career. Obviously, you've got this incredible career and you've been signed as an artist now for almost 10 years and at just the age of 24, which is pretty wild. How does it feel knowing that you've been in the industry for such a long time?
It's a whirlwind of emotions, to be honest, because I feel that a part of me feels like I'm just getting started. I think a lot of people who are, older than me would definitely agree with that. They'd be like, you're only 24. But then there's this other part of me that I think anyone, who's been working with me since those early days, especially like my managers who are like family to me, they met me at 13 years old and then I got signed when I turned 14 and I've always been this like old soul and I've always just felt like this is what I was meant to do. And so 10 years feels like an eternity at the same time as like light work. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of, it's just what I do. So it 10 years feels like it kind of flew by. A lot's happened in 10 years, but.
That's literally what I was going to say. So much has happened in those 10 years. Like you've come such a long way. And you were 16 when you released your first EP, Play It Again. How was it in that moment? Like what did it mean to you at that time to be releasing music and your first very own EP?
Yeah, I think it was a huge accomplishment. I think, growing up watching documentaries about your favorite artists and, their live shows and things like that, like to be a signed artist and to get signed to a record label is like one of the biggest accomplishments you could, get to as an artist. And I felt like to release my first project at such a young age as a signed artist is definitely like a thing that I look back on that I learned so much. When I first got signed, I also got signed as a songwriter. And so I would be in the studio Monday through Saturday, literally like writing from morning till night. Wow. Rewriting songs, I don't know how many times. And I'd go back to my team and be like, I don't know if there's any other words in the dictionary. And it's like, just try it again. I know there's better from you. And so it's just that building of my confidence as an artist. And to be honest, you never stop evolving. I've learned a lot in 10 years, but I know that there's so much more to learn. But I really thought I had it all down, at 16. And here I am at 24 thinking like, wow, still so much more to go.
But that's so like incredible. It's 16 years old. You know, you mentioned that. And I've heard you speak before about these long studio days you had from like, 7 in the morning till 4 in the morning. And you're so young. Where do you kind of think you got your work ethic from to be such a hard worker and so creative so young?
You know, I think it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I
Mm,
think a lot of individuals who grow up in neighborhoods like the ones I grew up in or come from minority communities, we all know what
mm,
that struggle can be like for our community. And I feel like for me, it was more of a blessing because I knew how to channel that energy for the
mm,
better through tools that were creative, that really were a form of self-expression for me. But it's just high functioning anxiety of not wanting to let anybody down, of wanting to do a good job, of wanting to provide for your family. And
mm.
that, clicked for me at 9 years old. I started working in this industry professionally at before I was double digits, so it's been a long time coming. And I think that now that I've evolved as a person, I can see some things that definitely served me well, and then some things that I'm
Mm.
learning to unlearn, as far as the pressure that comes with growing up in such a tough industry. It's a small world for sure, and there's a lot going on, and it's easy to like kind of lose yourself at moments and
Yeah.
kind of feel like, wait, why am I here? Why am I doing this?
Mm,
But
mm,
that sense of purpose has always come back to my family. It's always come back to my community, to show, young women, just our youth in general who come from places like where I come from, that nothing's
mm.
impossible. It's not impossible.
And do you think that kind of it's your family and your upbringing that's kept you grounded? Because, a lot of people that have been young stars like yourself since such a young age talk about kind of all the trials and tribulations that you go through. And I mean, you seem like such a grounded, such a caring, loving girl. So do you think that's something that's really played a part in your journey?
Thank you. Wow, those are some very nice words to hear. I'm glad that's what it looks like on the outside. Because that's
She's
how
like, yeah,
that's. I'm like, I'm not all well put together. Let me tell you. No, I mean, as far as like my heart, that means a lot to me that you can see that, because I really
Mm,
do put my heart in everything that I do. And I may not always do things the right way, whatever that
mm,
means, but I always do it with the best of intentions. And I think that throughout these years, my family really has been, that compass for me. They humble me in that sense of
mm,
even showing me that we are imperfect, reminding
yeah.
me too that I am me. I'm a daughter first, I'm a sister first, I'm a cousin first, I'm a granddaughter first. Being Becky G is cool and everything, but I'm an engaged citizen first. Like, there's so
Yeah.
many things in life that are so crucial and so important. And I think that I'm really thankful for that, from my family, because those reminders have helped me get through a lot of hardships.
Mm,
And I think that, either way, it's hard. Like, again, I've tripped
yeah.
sometimes, I've fell sometimes, but I've
Mm,
definitely had motivation to get back up again, knowing that my family comes from struggle. We come from
mm,
nothing, so I'm good with nothing. So all of
mm.
this is it's just fun. Like, just have fun, and growing up in an industry like this, I think I don't have enough fun, to be honest. I think my team, they look at me and they're like, "Stop being so old. Why are you so old? Why are you so hard on yourself?" Um, but yeah, it's I'm thankful for that. It really does come from them.
And I think it really shines through. I think, like I say, I think your fans know, and just, looking into everything that you kind of do, your social media presence, your music, everything, it really shines through that you are such a grounded family girl at heart. And we love that about you,
Thank
Becky. We do
you.
love that. But so, what did your family think? At age 16, you've just dropped this EP, which is, like I say, humongous for any 16-year-old, for any person in general. What did your family think when you started releasing this music? Were they like were you from a musical background? Are they musical too?
Oh no, I always say
Stop.
without tequila and karaoke, no one in my family, not my parents, not my grandparents, were ever like professional musicians or singers. But we were lovers of music. I mean, to
Yeah.
say we were lovers of music, fans of music, is definitely true. And there's a lot of proof, baby videos of just literally me being indulged in all different types of music, English, Spanish, hip hop, all kinds of urban music
Wow.
too. country music, even random things, you know? And it was always just playing in the background, and I think that that love for music just, it did mold into something different for me, and it became, like I said, my favorite form of self-expression at such a young age. And it also became a tool for me to help my family. I wasn't good at it, you know, I didn't take lessons or anything. We couldn't afford singing lessons or guitar lessons or anything like that, but I loved it so much. And with the internet, you know, these days you can learn just about anything. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like my family, they were very supportive in the ways that they knew how to, but they didn't
Yeah.
know anything about the industry. My mom, it was a young mother, you know, she had all 4 kids by the time she was my age, which is
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
And she has, you know, I'm the eldest of my siblings. I have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister. They're all taller than me now, which is hilarious.
I feel you with that one. I feel you with that one.
I call them my babies, but they're actually all much bigger than me. But it's funny because, you know, a young mom trying to kind of just juggle 4 kids. At one point, I had so many ideas and just so much energy, and want to do a talent show, and I wanted to sing for everybody at every family party, and look at me do this dance, and now I did this choreography, check it out. I think at one point my mom was like, I need help with this girl. Somebody take her from me and do something with all of this, because I have no idea. And like I said, they knew how to be supportive in the right ways. And I'm thankful for that, because, you know, my mom was never like a momager or anything like that. My dad was far from a manager, didn't really know much about the industry, was just focused on his 9 to 5 and doing what he had to do as a dad. And so I just kind of figured it out on my own, and they were supportive of it, which I'm thankful for, because, you know, the drive from Inglewood to Hollywood, although, you know, is actually not that far without traffic. I mean, figuratively speaking, it seemed like the idea of being on TV was just never gonna happen. You know, I had never seen the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I grew up in LA. You know, so it's those little things where, like, Hollywood, it seemed so distant. It was like, how can I be with the stars? And it was just like, you know, you'd think I was just like this little girl growing up in like the middle of nowhere and had to get on a bus and like, you know, but no, I was literally like right by the LAX airport, just writing my rhymes, rapping and stuff. And my parents were, like I said, as supportive as they could have been. And my grandparents, the best, because they only speak Spanish, right? So at this time, this EP that you're talking about, I remember around that same time, it was the first time I was working with like big artists. J-Lo was one of them. will.i.am, my favorite stories with will.i.am. I remember telling my grandma, oh my God, Lita, tengo una session, like a super Spanglish, right? Una session, I don't even know what that means. Like a recording session to write songs with will.i.am de los Black Eyed Peas. And she's like, ¿Quién es William? And I was like, will.i.am, the Black Eyed Peas? Boom, boom, pow? Like, where is the love? Like, do you really
Where is the love,
know?
Grandma? Come on.
Oh. It was the sweetest, though, because they had no idea, and I loved that. They had no idea, because they were happy. They saw how happy I was, of course, and that made them happy. But they didn't give 2 shits about, you know, what who I was in the studio with.
Who will.i.am was or who J-Lo was.
Yes.
But that's even crazy to think, you know, back then, your parents and your grandparents, probably, like, do you think they realized how big you were going to blow? Because maybe that, you know, in that moment, they weren't really sure. But I guess, like, now it's like, okay, do you know who J-Lo is now? Do you know? Yeah, like, wow.
You know, I think that in the very beginning, because, I mean, like I said, I've been doing it since I was 9 years old. And I always used to say, you know, me and my mom used to eat our meals on wheels, because I would spend so many hours in the car driving from Inglewood to Hollywood to Burbank to the other parts of the valley for auditions and callbacks and studio sessions and people's, you know, home converted closet studios. Like, we were just on the hustle since I was so young. I would literally, I mean, this is so funny, because casting directors are probably like, who is this child and why is she doing this? I would staple my demo CDs and like scripts that I wrote for movies to my resume, so that
That is
like when I'd go
amazing.
see casting directors, I'd be like, here is everything that I've ever done in my short life, and I hope you love it, and I hope you are the person that changes my life and takes my dreams and makes them come true, basically. And so that hustle happened for so many years, even before I got signed, that when I did get signed, it was kind of just like, oh, okay, cool.
Mm.
Like, oh yeah,
You were
I
ready
mean,
for it.
you've been doing this though, right, Becky? Like my uncles, until like, yeah, you're next to J-Lo. Of course, all the uncles are like, oh, J-Lo? What's up? That's so funny.
But it must be crazy for you now as well to look back at that era of your music. Like, how do you feel when you look back at some of your first songs?
I get so happy because I really thought I was the shit. I really did. And I love that.
You
I was
owned
so
it. You
young.
owned
I
it.
was so young. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was so you know, consumed with the idea of what it was to be a real artist, to be so
Mm.
involved in the songwriting process and the video making. I mean, since I was a new artist, and so the fact that I haven't changed in that sense makes me very happy, because that young girl in me, that young hustler, that excited to do what I do, like that part,
Yeah.
she's still here. Yeah, she sometimes she says bye sometimes and shit gets really stressful. But I think that where I was then was just, it was so necessary, to
Mm. Mm.
experiment and to try different things. And who would have thought I'd go from singing, rapping. Actually, I got signed as a rapper, which I think a lot of people, they think of like my singing in the shower days, and they're like, oh, la da
Yeah.
ti la da da, right? You're the girl that sings pop music. And it was like, no, I actually wasn't even signed as a singer. Like, I was signed as a rapper. And how you transition as an artist and how you learn, like those steps to me are just so necessary. So I look back at that project and that time in my life, and I'm just like, it makes me really happy. It does.
I love that. And I think one of the things to take away there is, you say that you went to these casting directors, went to these casting auditions and things, and you were putting your kind of whole life out there and saying, look, this is what I can bring. And I think that is such a clear message as to why you've been so successful, because you have worked hard, you have grafted, you've been a hustler, and you've done it. And like, you're a clear example of hard work pays off.
Thank
So, I
you.
mean, if you want something, you go and get it. Go and do it Becky G style, guys. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. I mean, you're an inspiration for sure. But I mean, you've spoken before about saying when you were 18, you felt that you'd kind of come to a moment in your career where you felt stuck, which at 18 years old, again, you're so young. But to get to a point in your career where you're like, okay, I feel a little bit stuck. You said that you felt the only option you had was to sing in Spanish. Take me a little bit back to that time and kind of what was going on there.
Yeah, it was a very frustrating time for me as an artist, because I was so young. I think the idea of having, started at such a young age, and you sacrifice so much, your family sacrifices so
Yeah.
much. And they, you go into this industry knowing that nothing's a given, but a lot of self-doubt started to manifest in that time. And it was a weird time for me because, yeah, you're 18, you're young, you should be living your best life, And I just decided that I was going to refocus my energy into something that I had never done before. And that was really leaning into my creativity as an actress.
Yeah.
And I had dabbled into that. I had done I mean, if you Google Becky G commercials, I had done like a McDonald's commercial, like little commercials. I loved short films and everything. But
You were
again,
working.
I had never taken an acting class in my life. I didn't know, I didn't go to drama school, but I was just
Yeah.
like, I really do love the world of film and TV, and it's always been a dream of mine. Maybe I just pivot into a different space where I can get inspired again and I can
Yeah.
learn something new again. And it was interesting because that's kind of when it's so funny to think about. I was on the road with J Balvin before he was J Balvin, the international superstar. He was J Balvin from Colombia back then.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love him to death. He's amazing. And we did this La Familia tour together, and I was an opening act on his tour. And my episode on Empire, my first episode on Empire had debuted while I was on tour with him. And I remember everyone in the cafeteria area, like before the shows, like they all watched it and they didn't know how to feel because they're like, okay, our little sister's in a hot tub with Hakeem naked. Like what? She's growing up so fast, crazy. But it was like my first like introduction as a young woman, as an actress, you know, doing something on a really big show. And it was received so well. And so I started doing a lot more self-tapes while I was on the road. And there was this one self-tape that came my way, and I was so tired. I was doing radio promo for a song that I absolutely hated at the time. I was like, I don't like this song. It's not working. Again, I'm the problem. Lots of self-doubt going on at this time. Yeah. And I remember someone on my team at that time was like, B, you really got to do the self-tape. Like, they keep asking for it, and I didn't even know what it was for. I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll do it. And I read some scenes from The Breakfast Club, not thinking much of it. And turns out it was Power Rangers. And I got a call back. And then after my call back, I got another call back. And then I made it to the, you know, director, producers, like final, like showdown with like, the, you know, I always call it the showdown because, you know, there's like that one girl next to you that you know is like, it's between you and her. And it's nothing but love and respect, but you're like, I made it this far. Like, it's gotta happen, right? And in that final audition, I remember they took measurements of the actors because as soon as they knew who they were gonna cast, they had to go right into producing the suits because it's gonna take a very long time for them to make the suits. And so I remember someone was like measuring even like my head, and I was like, I'm just envisioning my Power Rangers helmet. And I'm just going to manifest that I'm going to look so badass as a Power Ranger. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to get this role. I need this role because it was going to allow me to move to Canada, which I'm Mexican. We don't move out until we're married, okay? So I'm like, I'm going to move into my own apartment. I'm going to like learn something different and new. And I remember I missed the call from Dean Israelite, the director. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, it's probably a call of him being like, hey, Becky, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Just wanted you to know that we ended up going in a different direction. I was already playing it out in my head. Again, lots of self-doubt going on at this time. Yeah. So I was like, I don't even want to call him back. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, I for sure didn't get it. And I call him back, and I'm like, hey, Dean, like, you know, so good seeing you and meeting you. He's like, hey, so I just have one question. Are you ready? And I'm like, ready for what? And he goes, it's morphin' time. When I tell you, I screamed. I was just like, yes! Oh, this is crazy. Like my first real movie. It's like with a major studio. And, you know, at that time, they had basically already had the rest of the cast. So I had got to see like who else was going to be casted in the film. And they were all like fresh, new faces, you know, that had done some things, but this was going to be a big moment for them too. So I was like, okay, like I'm going to have like colleagues that are on the same wave as me where we're experienced, but like this means the same to everyone. You know, there's no egos, there's no nothing. We're just some young kids who are fresh and hungry and just so excited for what this is going to be. And that was when it changed for me. I mean, I lived in Vancouver. We did like 2 months of pre-production. It was like 6 months to finish the whole film in its entirety, and training, you know, meal plans, which was not my favorite part, let me tell you. I was breaking that meal plan. I was eating my tacos. I was just like, look, she is a 16-year-old in high school. She does not have a six-pack. Let me tell you.
We ain't got time for a six-pack, babes. We've got to eat.
As long as I fit in my suit, which I was like a sausage in that suit. I was looking about, my cheeks were a little bit too squeezed in that helmet, but it was such a fun thing. And, you know, long story short, I'm going to set, and I'm number 5 on the call sheet. So if you know how these things work, when you're number 1, that means you're like lead actor, you know? I was number 5. So I had some more days off, half days, in comparison to number 1 and number 2 on the call sheet. And because I'd never lived alone, I didn't want to be in my apartment alone. So I would still go to set. And I would go to set on my days off, and I would push carts and wrap wires and ask questions. And you got
Wow.
the guy holding
The
the
big boom
mic,
mic.
and I have the audacity to ask him. I'm like, do you ever get tired? Does it ever? And he's just like
He's looking
sweating
like
profusely, trying not to be in the shot, but trying to get the audio. And I'm trying to see what it's like to like move a camera on a dolly, and then when they yell camera on sticks, and I'm like, what? There's no sticks, It's like, oh, camera stand, right? Okay. Then they have these big techno cranes, and the camera's like twisting and turning and going 360, and all right, we're going Dutch, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what is this world? Like, it was so fascinating, and I was like, you know what? We got to do this like with my music. Like, we got to try something new. We got to try something different. And that's when my manager, Ben, comes, to a team call, and it's just like, B, I think it's time. And everyone knew it was like my biggest fear to professionally sing music in Spanish. Not that I didn't know how to. I knew how to speak Spanish. I mean, I was very pocha. It's kind of like, there's a little bit of an accent sometimes. A veces se me olvida like a word or whatever. But, like I knew my parents speak only Spanish. I speak Spanish with my parents, but I was always scared that they were going to judge me for my Spanish. And so I had watched the movie Selena too many times, and how, her dad would say, you're either too Mexican for the Americans or too American for the Mexicans. It's exhausting. And I was just like, that's my life. Like, that, I'm going to get judged. They're not going to accept me as one of their own, even though I am. And I'm proud of representing, two flags. And Ben was like, it's time, B. Like, I don't know why I feel it. And I was like, you know what? I feel it too. Like, here I am doing something I didn't know anything about, and I kind of got to go into my music with that same mentality, humbled and excited and hungry to do whatever it takes. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that there is a growing demand for representation for our audience, because we live our lives simultaneously in two worlds. Like, Spanglish ahora está de moda. Like, it's a cool thing now. Like, my cousins from Mexico say super cool, like there's like this fusion happening, and I've never felt so myself when I started singing in Spanish. And it's the weirdest thing to explain, but yeah, that's the very long story of how, like, from 18 being super stuck to this weird transition in the middle that happened, and the meal plans and all that other fun, not fun stuff, to getting to this point, and the people involved, they also didn't know what the heck they were doing. So we were all in it together, It was a beautiful thing to look back on, to be honest.
Let me just say, it was a beautiful thing to hear that. Like, Becky, honestly, like, hearing that back, I just got actual shivers when you kind of rounded that off there for us, and, kind of said, I really felt like that was the moment. It was Becky time kind of thing. Like, I genuinely got shivers up my spine. And I think that story was so lovely to hear. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So it seems, Becky, Power Rangers was a huge moment for you in your career, and kind of a pivotal point, it feels like, from that story, which I'm obsessed with the whole of that story. But then, moving forward into your career and into your music a little bit more, it took almost 10 years for you to release your first ever album, Mala Santa, which I know your fans were dying for. And I think there's actually a funny story about you being in a restaurant and your fans being outside. Tell me about that. Do you know what I'm on about?
Okay, so it's funny because my manager, Ben, he was present in this meeting, and it was a whole conversation around, do artists even, release albums anymore? And it's just the way that the market is moving, it might be a bit more productive. And I'm just like, y'all, I've waited 10 years to do this. The least you can do, just give me one, at least just one, And I had this whole vision for Mala Santa, and what that meant to me, as evolving as a young woman and embracing my duality, my sporty side, but my sexy side, and my Spanish side, and my English side, and the good side of me, the little angel side of me, and then the dark, steamy, whatever, bad girl side of me.
Full-grown woman.
I thought it was just so important. I'm like, this is also another big accomplishment that, an artist, a milestone that I felt like I was definitely deserving of, but also my fans, fans that had been riding with me for so long, as well as like my Spanish speaking fans. Like they
Mm.
really did. I mean, I'm gonna say it truthfully. They saved my career. You know, they gave me a revival, a second chance at really doing this, at really finding myself as an artist. And I wanted to give them something. And I was like, we're gonna give it to them. So there's this heated meeting that's happening. We were in the city of New York, and I go to get a coffee, right? And as I go to the little coffee bar to grab a coffee before I return to this meeting, there's these fans that were outside, and they came and they're like, Becky, can we get a picture with you really quick, please? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Let's take a picture. You know, this is pre-COVID. So, I give them hugs and like, hey, what's up? You know, and they're like, girl, when we going to get an album? And I was like, oh my God, so funny you asked. Don't ask me anymore. How about you go to that table over there where everybody from my labels at, my managers are, and you go ask them, and let's see what answer they give you. See if it's anything close to the answer they just gave me. And they go, they're like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna ask them, you know. And they went, and it was like serendipity. It was something you can't explain, like to the point where some of the individuals on the label side, they're like, she paid them to do that, right? Like she asked somebody to come and do that, and little did they know, like, no, that's just, it's been an ongoing thing. It was like this long running joke with my fans that like I would always tell them soon, and it's like the SpongeBob meme where it's like 5 years later.
5 years
it's
later.
Like literally. And so I'm so proud of that project because like I said, I think it truly represented where I was as, like I said, that young woman that I've become in front of everyone's eyes, and just the sound that I really started to develop and create for myself. And what's to come after is even more exciting. So yeah, it is a funny story to look back on, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Becky, you seem to have something exciting up your sleeve. So can we talk a little bit about what's to come?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I was saying very early on, collaboration and community and working together and, team building and things like that. Like that's just part of my nature. That's who I am in business and in personal interactions. And I think that where I am as a young woman in this industry, there's this like borderline survivor's guilt that kicks in when you realize how blessed you are with opportunity and that there are so many other women out there that are so talented but have yet to receive opportunity because of the lack of. And so kind of just sharing the light is what I've always been about. And I think we're taking that to the next level. Me and my team, we're really trying to find female songwriters, female producers, even female vocal producers to collaborate with, to create music with, to make sure that we're not just about what's in front of the camera and, collaborating with fellow female artists, but also the artists, like I said, behind the camera. So lots of stuff to come with that sentiment and with those intentions very, very soon. And then just, again, more collaboration with other artists. Like, I mean, the lineup that we have of releases is kind of like, oh my God, there's some things like kind of piling up on each other. So we're trying to be strategic to make sure that it's not like, boom, overload for the fans. Yeah, so it's an exciting time. Definitely lots of new music this year for sure.
Wow. I mean, I know that your fans will be sitting right now like, tell us more, Becky. We want to know more. So tell me, like, what kind of music can we expect? A question that I wanted to ask was, will you ever look to release any more music in English, or are you sticking to the kind of the Spanish vibe right now?
Spanish definitely just suits me and where I am as an artist. It feels good. I tried to go back to English, and it's funny because you end up being your own biggest competition. And the way that the Latin community consumes music is so different than how we do on the English speaking side. And so I think that even still we will eventually. It's just a matter of like how and when and with what intention, because I'm all about intention. But I know that a lot of my English speaking fans are like, girl, I'm a little bit tired of hitting that Google Translate button on your lyrics. Like the vibe is everything, but like I don't really know what you're saying. So I'm all about it. Like my team knows. Like I love even like R&B music. Like one of my biggest like hopes and dreams is to release like a R&B inspired Spanish English type project because that's what I grew up on, you know.
We'd love to see it. I know there's so many people listening that'll be like, yes, Becky, we love to see it. But you know, whatever you do, everything you do, you clearly put 120 million% into. So whatever you create in the future is always going to be insane, and we always look forward to it. Now, I've got a big question for you. Prepare yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, drum roll. We'll do a drum roll. We just love a little bit of performance here. Now, I wondered, out of all the songs you've created over time, what has been your favorite song and why?
They haven't come out yet. Yeah, they haven't come out yet. Like I have like recent favorite songs, and my team knows. They know, and it's funny because it's always there. I'm just like a whole Pisces, like a literal, like, now that it's my birthday, let's talk about what a literal Pisces I am.
Come on, let's hear it.
And so I can just go with the flow, and I'm a very emotional being, and some of my favorite songs have been more of like the heavier, emotional lyrics, lyric heavy songs, and there's one in particular that I made recently with an incredible team of women that are just everything, and it was so intimate and so much fun, and it was actually inspired by like my own personal reflection of myself, and if only we treated ourselves as our best friend, you know, like we can look to our best friend, right? Like for me, my best friend is my mom or my sister, and I want the absolute best for them, and I want to remind them how strong they are and how courageous they are and how resilient they are. But when it's ourselves, it's so hard to be receptive from your own, you know, encouragement. And so that song is just like really about embracing. There's a lyric that I have that's like, qué bonito que puedes sentir, las personas hoy no son así. And it's like, how beautiful that you can even feel things, because today people don't feel anything at all. So like, I know you feel really overwhelmed with a lot of emotion, but just know that like it's a beautiful thing to be able to feel, because I think that we're in this generation where it's like too much of anything is obviously not good for you. And I think that it's very easy to be so black and white, so extreme, you know, like I want to be a cold-hearted bad bitch. And then it's like, no, but I also want to be like very responsible and like emotionally in tune and spiritual. And it's like, how about we just fuse all of that energy together and embrace our duality as women, that we can and are capable of so much. And so, yeah, it's a song that hasn't come out yet. I guess I can just say that.
Well, this song's going to be a hit. I'm already obsessed, and I haven't heard it. I haven't even heard it. But I mean, Becky, one of the things I was going to ask on our podcast, when we have a singer on set, we like to ask if we can get a little tune involved. So do you think, I know we probably can't hear that song, but have you got anything that you could give us a little freestyle of us, or a little?
Yeah. Okay. So, oh my God, that's so funny. I just said, yes. Have you guys seen on TikTok that little girl? It's like, Jabria, are you smart? And she goes, yes. I love her energy. She's everything.
No,
super contagious,
she
obviously.
is insane. Yeah.
Okay, so because we were talking about girl power, Sin Pijama with Natti is for sure a song that changed the game for women in like reggaeton in this generation. And so I'm gonna sing a little bit of that because I feel like we're in that girl power energy. And it goes a little something like, si tú me llamas, nos vamos pa tu casa, nos quedamos en la cama, sin pijama, ey. Si tú me llamas, nos vamos pa tu casa, nos quedamos en la cama, sin pijama. Ta-da-dum. Ta-da.
I don't even know where I am anymore. I'm taken away.
Love it.
Like literally whatever I was going to say next has gone out of my head. I was just in the moment there. I was trying not to be cheesy with my little moves, but you know, I can't help it. I'm so emotional when it comes to music that when I hear a song, I'm like, oh, I just fall into it. So wow, the absolute vibes there. Thank you so much. And I think from everything you spoke about there, I mean, you know, girl power, looking to put more females in your team and strong females in places is really inspiring. And to all of the young females listening, you know, I think that's a great role model and thing to do. So we're excited for what comes next, for all the projects you're working on. And I guess if you kind of had more chance in lockdown to reflect on, you know, your everyday and what you kind of want to do? Do you think you've had kind of more time to think about that and, you know, where
Yeah,
you're going?
definitely. I had a lot of time to think of, yeah, I had a lot of time to think about a lot of different, aspects of just my career overall. I've never considered myself to just be a singer or to just be one thing.
Mm,
To me, I'm a creative being, and wherever the wind takes me, I just kind of go. And if it's through music, it's through music. If it's through, fashion, it's through fashion. If it's through makeup, it's through makeup. If it's through, community, then it's through community. And it's just those things that for me have allowed me to kind of just like be inspired by so many
mm,
more things than if I was just looking for the next best lyric,
mm,
and I'm really thankful for that, because I think, as much as we all hated last year, I also
mm,
think it was very necessary. I think it was very necessary for us as a society to just have this reality check
mm,
that, things like COVID, for instance, they do not discriminate. It doesn't care who you are, where you come from, how much money you have in your bank account. And I think
mm.
that a lot of people needed to be checked on that. And then,
Yeah.
growing up in LA at the peak of, all of the Black Lives Matter marches that were happening
Mm,
here and protests, and, the pandemic really hitting on the Latino community as hard
mm,
as it's been. It shook me to the core. I mean, to the point where we were working on our collaboration, right, with Pretty Little Thing, and I had a
mm,
serious conversation with them, and I was so thankful to have collaborators that were so receptive, and willing to be a part of making change, and having that understanding of like, right now for me is not a time to be posting about
yeah.
my outfit of the day,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like today is the time to reflect. Today is the
Mm,
time to recognize, the things that are far more important right now.
mm,
And I was really, really thankful, because a lot of the individual, it made me realize that everyone that I was working with at that time, they were all on that same frequency.
yeah.
And so it became so inspiring to like really do the work,
Mm,
really educate myself,
mm,
really hone in on what my privilege looks like as a light-skinned Latina.
yeah.
Yeah, I got caramel skin, but and depending on the room, if there's a Karen in there, like if somebody wants to tell me, hey, we speak English here, like those things do happen to people in my
Yeah.
community, but there was a lot happening at the peak of turmoil last year, and
Yeah.
I think that it infused my creativity with, sadly, with a lot of pain,
Yeah.
personal pain,
Yeah.
things that I've been going through on a personal side, but also with this light that I didn't know I had within me,
Mm,
to face adversity, to help others in ways that, I had always wanted to. And so infusing that into my project has probably been one of the most special things. I don't think I've ever cared as much as I do today, and I thought I cared a lot
mm,
back then.
mm. And you've been a really huge voice amongst everything that kind of went on in the year. I know you've been really using your platform, and that's something I want to discuss. Is you've really used your social media to drive the things you believe in and to drive that message. And I think with of someone with such a huge following and fan base as you, that's so inspiring to see. Because you do obviously inspire people, and you can kind of have provoke thought with your followers, with your fans. And I know you even created your podcast in lockdown, which you speak about some incredible subjects. You speak about these really hard-hitting subjects, whether it be gay rights, Black Lives Matter, voting. And I know you even spoke to Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, pre-election, by the way, and opened up these
Mm-hmm.
discussions. And I think that is so inspiring. So how was that for you creating that platform? And was that kind of the inspiration there from going through everything that happened last year, thinking, yeah, I'm going to put all this into this platform? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge for me, learning again, being humbled enough to learn, like doing what you do is not easy. The preparation that goes into making intentional content,
Mm,
and really doing your research and making sure that the content you're putting out is correct, that
Mm,
it
yeah.
is intentional and inspirational, and also actually doing something, right? Because
Mm,
it's easy to talk about these things, but to make sure that you're not adding fuel to the fire is also important. And
mm,
at the time when we were creating in La Sala, our partners were Amazon for our first season, and even challenging our partners and saying, how are we really going to be the difference? And
mm,
to me, that was, if we're going to talk about it, we got to be about it.
mm,
So there's got to be a give back at the end of every episode. Because if we're going to talk about issues, we also have to make sure that we are helping in whatever ways that we can. And
yeah.
so at the end of every episode, it was my idea to donate to different grassroots organizations that were on the ground, that were
Mm,
within my community making change. And that meant so much to me, because I actually have just had a call with one of the foundations that we had donated to, and seeing other ways that we can collaborate. And it's just those little bridges that you start to build, with hopes of creating and inspiring
mm.
positive change. It was really special. It was definitely really special.
And with your platform, I mean, on Instagram alone, you have 25 million followers. Do you feel a kind
Crazy.
of pressure to be, to vocalize what's important to you? Do you feel that pressure?
I think the average person, anybody, feels
Mm,
pressure because of social media now.
yeah.
Everybody does. Someone in my position, I think that our responsibility does look a lot different,
Mm,
because we are much more exposed than the average person. Our
yeah.
numbers, obviously. I mean, you just shared what's a crazy number. I don't like to look at those things too much, because it is very consuming, and it's a lot. But
Mm,
for me, more than anything, it's like I've just always been an open book, and I said this very early on. I may not always do the right thing, but I know that I do it with good intentions, and taking accountability is so important, and
mm,
knowing that you can still cause harm and hurt to people even though that wasn't your intention. And so making sure that I'm conscious and intentional with my social media is my number one priority, because that is my direct line to my audience, with absolutely no filters, although there's a lot of
mm.
filters, obviously. It's using your social media for the better good, and not letting your
Mm,
social media use you.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. I think with that, what you've just said, was that kind of what was in your mind when you tweeted a while back something around that you wanted to take a step back from social media and really think about what you wanted that platform to represent. So what exactly do you want your Twitter, your Instagram, what do you want it to represent now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've just, I'm growing into myself more and more, and I think I've
Mm,
always been myself, but I haven't necessarily shared really all of the bad that has happened to me in these crucial years in my
mm,
adolescence, and whether they're personal things or things that, like I said, were inflicted by the pressures of growing up online, and
yeah.
what that looks like for people. And it's not just pop stars. It's not, it's the average young woman
Mm,
feeling like she has to look a certain way,
mm-hmm.
speak a certain way, dress a certain way. And so those pressures, I think, are they can do a lot to a person. And I think that just me being more aware and honest with myself on how it's affected me, and being conscious of what I put out there and how that's going to affect other people as
Mm,
well. And taking that step back, I think it's just always necessary, even if it's like, well, I kind of think I was on the right track, but just taking a break from these things it just brings a lot of clarity. It was funny. So, the Bust It challenge that everybody's been
yeah,
doing
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
on TikTok and stuff. Or the makeup one where you kind of like
Dun, dun,
tap the
dun, dun, yeah.
screen. Yes. So I did one the other day, because everyone's like, you got to do this challenge. And I was like, little does everybody know, I'm having a really, really bad
Mm,
days, weeks,
mm,
weeks,
mm.
and I hadn't been in the best headspace, and I had a therapy session that day, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the challenge, but I'm gonna do it my way, and it's gonna be the real way, the way I really feel. And it was like I did it, and then at the end of that, I was still in sweats, no makeup, after post therapy,
Yeah.
a mess, crying my eyes out. And it's just showed the truth that, the
Mm,
process of healing isn't always pretty. It's a very
mm,
beautiful process, but it doesn't always look pretty,
mm,
and I think that for me, it's those little things, those little intentions of showing people my truth, in hopes that it inspires them to do the same for them. And who knows, I might do the same challenge, and the next day I'm feeling like I'm on my baddie vibes, and I am in the mood to do my makeup. Then I can do that too. It's not saying that you have to be one or the other. It's saying that we can embrace both sides.
Embrace both. Yeah, definitely. And I think at a time like now, I mean, obviously COVID's been going on for the past year or so. I feel like emotions are so heightened for everybody right now. And we all have those days where we don't feel 100%, when we don't feel great. And I think, you showing that in a lighthearted way was great. I saw the video and I thought it was great to see. But I do think in COVID right now and everything we're going through, it is just so real that we just don't always have, good days. It's not always good. I know we touched on lockdown just and kind of how it's impacted you, personally. But speaking of, your creative side, before COVID, you'd have been used to performing to thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. And then suddenly that all stopped and, we were all indoors. How was it to be completely in a whole new world, I guess, of, within your career?
I mean, I think that your overall survival fight or flight kicks in. And for me, I mean, it did, on a mental health note, it did trigger a lot of anxiety, a lot of just, desperation for answers. I just wanted to understand, what's the plan? What's this going to look like? What does this mean for my team and myself? But beyond that, what does this mean, again, for my community, for my city? There was a lot of information being thrown around and still no answers. And so we still don't know what it's going to look like. I think there's still shows planned for outside of the country for this summer. And I think people are going back now. They're going backwards because it's kind of like, well, maybe we opened up too soon, and are we going to be putting more people at risk? And it's a lot. It's a lot of question marks.
That's it. We're still in that kind of space. I mean, I completely appreciate and relate to you. In the beginning, it was definitely a lot of questions, a lot of anxiety of just mixed messaging and, not really knowing what's going on. As a whole world, I think everybody was really, obviously, clearly really impacted. And I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, I've got positive thoughts. I'm going to manifest for us all, for our world to come into a better year this year. And hopefully, things do start to open up. But like you say, in the right way, when everything is safe and we can really go out and just live our best lives again. Because God knows we're ready for it.
Yeah, and it does make me excited to think that, after, like I said, a reality check like the one we're living right now, I do think we're going to appreciate things a lot differently. You know what I mean? Like, I do look forward, not to even just like my next concert performing, but like my next concert where I get to go as a fan of music and watch and enjoy in an audience and have share this moment with people, like that, even just those moments. I really look forward to that. And that's kind of been that little light that I hold on to, is like, I really do think that everything that's happening is for a greater purpose.
It's feeling those feelings again. It's getting those moments, like you say, when you're in an audience, like your fans will know, going to listen to you sing, the feeling you get is undescribable. It's like, we can't just get it from our everyday lives. You go and you do these things that you enjoy because you get these incredible, you draw these incredible emotions from. More personally on your lockdown, I want to chat about your personal lockdown. How has it been for you with your boyfriend, Sebastian? How is it having a relationship in lockdown?
It's been great. I mean, I feel really lucky to be able to say that, because I feel like for a lot of people, it's been a very revealing time for them on a personal note. And then again, too, for friendships, for romantic relationships, for family. And I've definitely been going through that. But I'm so blessed that, he really is my best friend. And we've been together just over 4 years now. It's going to be 5, which is crazy, this month.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, fortunately, we really like each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to love someone and be like, all right, I love you. But I don't always like you all the time. You know what I mean? That's some real, when you've been with someone for a really long time, you know what that feeling can be like. And we really do enjoy sharing space together. We've lived together for a couple years now, and sometimes we were like ships in the night, just missing each other. There was times where I was landing and he was taking off. Same airport, same time, just missing each other every time. Going weeks at a time with not seeing each other. And it's funny because he had a couple years over at West Ham before we met.
Really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, actually, my first time to London, he was there with the national team, the United States men's national team, and I kind of just like piggybacked off of that trip, and I was like, I'm coming to see you. I've never been to London, and you used to live here. Like, I want to see it, you know.
Wow.
So he took me around, and it was so much fun. And yeah, we went to what game did we go watch? I can't even remember. I think it was like Tottenham and.
No way.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what match it was, but it was super fun, and the culture of football there is obviously so different. But
Yeah.
I'm a Galaxy fan. I'm also I'm now officially an owner of the first women's soccer team here in Los Angeles, which is LAFC. Angel City. We're in the LAFC stadium. That's kind of like our stadium partner now. But Angel City is it's the first women's team here in my city, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. And it's like the stadium's like literally in the heart of LA, and it's a new stadium, so it's like super cool. So I'm also a fan of that team. I rep that team for sure really hard, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it.
Wow, I mean, congratulations, making moves. I love to see that, the first female team, and you're supporting them. I love that. That's amazing.
For sure. Super important to me.
One thing you said there that you've been to London, but Becky, have you been to Manchester?
I think no.
Right.
No.
Babes, PLT, bosses, everybody, Becky's team. We need to get Becky to this headquarters.
We gotta get over to Manchester.
When it's safe, when COVID is hopefully over, and it's safe and it allows, we'd love to see you here.
That would be awesome.
To party. We need to party with you for sure.
I would love that.
Speaking of PLT, obviously there's a big elephant in the room, I'm going to call it. Actually, there's a unicorn in the room for everybody who's watching. Becky's got some fan clothing on right now, and we're going to talk a little about it. It's your very own PLT collection.
It is. I'm so excited. Bless the PLT team, because they know it's been a long time coming. We put so much time and effort into this collection. It's been so much fun. I think it's so special too that, you know, around this time of my birthday, there's like little things in my collection that are very personal to me. My birth year, 1997. That's why I'm rocking this cute little crop top right now. And it's, you know, it's implemented in different pieces and stuff, but everything is like super intentional to embrace that, as I was saying earlier, that duality of me, where you can go from super sexy, I'm that, you know, BITCH, to super sporty, super comfy, casual wear. And yeah, so I can't wait for my fans to be able to have this, because it's been made with a lot of love for sure.
I love that. Well, fans, everybody listening, it's actually out right now. You can go and cop that drop. And let me tell you, it ain't going to last long. So don't hold off on it. It's going to go crazy. Congratulations. We've been so excited. And like you said, it's been a long time coming, and it's been a journey. And we have definitely, everybody here at PLT has been so excited for this collaboration. But I wondered, on a more personal level, like, what kind of made you decide to work with PLT?
You know, I think that overall what's super important to me is like balance, right? And I think that, you know, as an artist, everybody's like, oh, you got the big bags, the big spend of this, the big spend of that. And it's like, every now and then, yes, I like to treat myself, but even then, like, I grew up balling on a budget, you know? And like always wanted to have that like class, that sass, that style. Like, to me, fashion has always been my favorite way, one of my favorite ways of like expressing my mood. You know, there's some days where I might want to wear a dress and a lot of jewelry, and then there's some days where you'll catch me in my tracksuit, you know, with my hair up and my hoops on. And so I just have always appreciated like the versatility of Pretty Little Things, and I think that too, more than anything, like for my fans to have something, you know, from me, my first ever like collection like this, it'd be something that's affordable, something that they can make use of and feel identified with. Because as an artist, I think it's super important to be a reflection of your audience, for sure, you know?
100%. And yeah, like I say, congratulations. We are so excited to see everything go live. And yeah, for everybody to go and cop that drop. It's not going to last long. So girls, go and get your pieces.
Yes.
Well done on that. Now, I wanted to go on to a little game in a moment, but before we do, I had a question for you. Now, I listened to a podcast, well, we all listened to a podcast actually with you in from 2018. It was a lovely podcast. I loved listening to it. And one of the questions they asked you at the end of the recording was, what does the Becky G empire look like in 5 years' time? And I found that really interesting because they asked it in 2018. We're not quite 5 years on, but I wondered, do you remember what you answered?
I feel like I've always talked about like the sky being the limit. And you know, even 5 years, it's like I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So like 5 years is like really far out, but I've always said, you know, to continue doing what I love to do and being a creative person, and like I said, however that manifests. So whether it be through fashion or whether it be through makeup, film or TV, like that's usually like where I am. And I'm already in it, which is so crazy to think. But I feel like it was maybe something like that, was it?
Do you know what? I think you actually started the sentence saying, well, you know, the sky's the limit. I think you absolutely nailed that part. And you actually also said you'd be directing movies, writing shows, and running around with little babies.
Oh, well, you know, 5 years. I mean, I could maybe if we start 5 years starting now. That makes more sense.
That's it. There's no pressure. There's no pressure.
No, I mean, definitely. I mean, having a family is, you know, one of my biggest, most important goals that I would be so blessed to accomplish one day. And everybody knows that I came out the womb a mother, basically. I was just like, babies, let me take care of everyone's babies. So I know that day is destined to come, most definitely, and it'll be probably my proudest project yet. But I feel like, yeah, on the Empire side, yeah, I mean, totally. Film, TV, I'm in it right now. And it's crazy that I said that because, you know, producing and directing is definitely on my list of things to accomplish in these next years.
It's funny, Becky, everything you ever wanted. I mean, it seems you just manifest your life. And I know that whatever you do next is going to be incredible. And I'm sure everybody here, you're always going to have the support from everybody here at PLT. And we just can't wait to see what the next few years hold. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be so exciting. Much. Now, before you do actually finally go, before I let you go back to your busy schedule, I thought, could we play a little game?
Oh, yeah. I love games.
So we've got a game called Top Google Searches. Have you ever played that?
I have never played it before, actually.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
Oh, yeah. Who hasn't? I feel like you can Google anything these days.
Even I've Googled myself, and I'm not Becky G. Do you know what I mean?
I love it.
Okay, so our game, we have put together some questions that basically when you search into Google, does Becky G, these are the 5 most things that come up, okay? So this is what everybody's Googling about, does Becky G. I can't wait for it. Okay, so all I want you to do is answer the question really quick fire, yes or no. I mean, I can't wait to see your answers. Number 1 is, does Becky G have a kid?
No, not yet.
Does Becky G wear contacts?
Occasionally, yes, definitely.
Nice. Does Becky G live in Mexico?
I do not.
Does Becky G have siblings?
I do. 3 of them.
If you listen to this podcast, Ride or Die, if you've been here since the beginning of the episode, you know she's got 3 siblings, guys. Okay, we answered that. And then finally, okay, this is cute to end it on. Does Becky G want to get married?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
It's so interesting to see. That's what people are Googling. That's what people want to know about you, Becky.
I love it.
And there we go.
It's like, it's not like, when is Becky G's next album coming out? Or like, when is Becky G's tour? It's like, what did she eat for breakfast?
They just want to know. Yeah, they just want to know you on a real level. And I mean, I feel like I've got to know you a little bit more on a real level today. And I really, really honestly appreciate it. You've been incredible to get to know Becky. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time. And like I said, I look forward to doing this again.
We will definitely do this again. But before you go, I've got one last request. Are you ready for it? Okay. So, I mean, I'm obsessed. Do you think you could teach me a little bit of Spanish? Maybe telling our audience to go and subscribe to the PLT podcast.
PLT podcast. Yes. Okay. So you would say suscríbete.
Subscribe. Scribe. E-te.
Suscríbete.
Subscribete.
Yes! That was good. So, mi
Suscríbete.
gente, suscríbete a Pretty Little Things podcast.
I mean, guys, I'm going to let that beautiful voice end it there. Becky, I have thoroughly enjoyed today. Thank you so much for joining us on PLT Behind Closed Doors. You've been an absolute gem to chat to. It's been a privilege. Thank you so much for being here. And congratulations on your collection, guys. Go and shop it now. You're going to love it. I'm obsessed. I've already got about 10 items in my basket. You want to get there, guys. Get ready for it. And Becky, thanks again. We will see you real soon.
Amazing. Thank you.
To all of our amazing listeners, thank you so much. This has been PLT Behind Closed Doors, starring the lovely Becky G. If you have enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a little review, and as always, subscribe. See you later. Woo, that was actually wrapped.
That was so fun.
Oh my God, Becky, I loved it. Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Thank you, guys.